So what? Part one, you just want me to introduce myself? I don't even know what the fuck that means. I'm not gonna be very easy.
This is Plank. He's sort of a controversial character in the Smash community. On top of being probably the most notorious tournament organizer of all time, he invented planking, a stalling strategy that transcends every Smash game. It doesn't seem like it now, but maybe he wasn't so bad. Maybe he pioneered the tournament organizing scene and the development of competitive rule sets. Plank is a notable player and tournament organizer from the MDVA region. His tournament organizing career has consisted of running tournaments at the grassroots and national level for multiple Smash titles. But let's talk about him as a player first. His main in Melee, the main game he is known for, is Sheik. By competing in multiple games for the time that he has, Plank's been a local legend in the scene, and used to be known as the gatekeeper for some of the newer players trying to make it big, before he took a step back more recently.
So I picked Sheik because, it was my favorite at first, just probably because it was easy, naturally. But then, the easiest was just amplified. And back then I could just beat people easily, or compete with people by just reading their movements or predicting anything they were going to do and just like punishing it with the easy Sheik punish. I got to a point where I felt like I was like second best Sheik. Drefn was the only one better than me. I placed, pretty consistently in nationals, 33rd or 49th, and there were only 300 people around that time.
Drefn, as we all know, has been a high-level Sheik for over a decade, and Plank used to be up there with him. He even picked up a win on Mango in pools at Pound 3. Yeah, that Pound 3. Plank was an accomplished player. He taught me a great deal about Sheik, and he had a pretty long Smash career, which spanned across multiple games. One of those games was Brawl. As a former Brawl player, I have a fond spot for the game, even though I am aware of its flaws. It is a very defensive and neutral-based game. Plank, however, a Melee player through and through, had a different take.
Brawl is the biggest disappointment maybe in my life. It was like, we were loving Melee. Just what it became, it was just so sad. And to be able to start seeing that and what was happening from the beginning just hurt. More defensive and more defensive and more defensive and more defensive. And every single thing that came out that was good was defensive. It was just, you knew what it was going to become. And I think within maybe 4 or 5 months, I was one of the best players in the country. It wasn't even hanging on the ledge. That wasn't even what made me one of the best players in the country. It just brought me to the next level. I just hit the B button. I just tornadoed.
And during Brawl, he happened to invent one of the most effective and dangerous stalling strategies to ever grace competitive Smash Bros. Planking. While many think planking was invented in 2009, in an infamous set between him and DePuffster, Plank believes it was started even earlier. Let's cut to Axis Gaming, an early Brawl tournament in 2008 in California, and Plank was required to play SK92 in bracket, a pretty defensive player.
And so if you're trying to make a point to one of your friends that they shoot too many lasers,
to say the least.
Right, so I was playing DSF, and he's like, good luck with that. He's just gonna stand there and shoot lasers. And I remember saying, and I was like, if he just shoot lasers at me, I'll just go to the ledge. And he was like, for the whole game? And I looked at him, I said, yeah.
In most Smash games, grabbing the ledge gives you a certain amount of invincibility frames every time you re-grab it. Unfortunately, this meant that Meta Knight, the best Brawl character by far, could stall in a very annoying way. By letting go of ledge and throwing out an up air, Meta Knight was able to have invincibility while remaining safe. If anybody challenged him, he could up air or throw out another hitbox safely to get him off. It was nearly impossible to combat. Meta Knight's offstage game was so strong compared to the rest of the cast that the only possible counterplay was to wait. Wait for Meta Knight to get off the ledge. There's no quick ledge grab like there was in Melee. Most attempts to grab the ledge would be meant by an up air or up B reversal. There's no challenging it off stage unless you had a projectile that went under the stage. It was a very strong tactic. This strategy eventually found its way to Melee, where most characters could utilize it. This is most clearly seen in a character like Jigglypuff, and in Project M in the form of Chudette's Kirby. Like, were they more mad about you or mad?
Me. Yeah, nobody was mad. Everyone takes that personally. It's just the culture. I mean, it's fine. Like, why would this person do that? Wow. They're mad about the character, or the design, or being legal, or any of that. They're just mad that someone did.
Plank got a taste of the potential backlash from the Smash community after his invention of planking. A backlash he would begin to know all too well after Pound 5. It's weird though, because planking actually helped the meta develop. Because of Plank's use of that strategy, a ledge grab limit was introduced in Brawl to check meta net. In Smash 4 and Ultimate, invincibility ended after a second ledge regrab. And at Project M, regrabs ended up losing invincibility after 5 regrabs to prevent shit like this from happening. The rule sets of the game evolved to deal with playing defensive on the ledge. The meta progressed. Even though planking was a horrible loophole in engines that weren't meant to be competitive, it helped the meta progress. But of course, Plank didn't mean to do that. Plank did it because he
did you the Falco to come to me. That's all I wanted.
Plank's contribution extends beyond playstyle, of course. Plank ran many tournaments and kept Smash alive during the many years where it wasn't doing so hot.
But it was just all these people that were so cool that I was already around all the time. And I was like, I want to play that. I mean, I want to be part of this thing. That's so cool. And then like Travis wasn't really hosting anymore, so I kind of picked it up from there. A lot of running larger events was just really wanting to have something really close to me, where there were going to be like a ton of good people that were going to come, and just like I wanted the competition. It was always just amazing to have different people from different backgrounds, and just to have everybody there for that one cause, just like happy.
He ran tournaments all over. He ran locals throughout the years, and he helped seed the national scene. Juggleboy, the tournament organizer of Big House, cites him as being an inspiration. He even helped start the first CEO with Smash Brothers.
Alex and I were close. We like founded the very first CEO together. Yeah, CEO is mine and his tournament series.
He also invented stage striking. Did you know that people would just play on random stages before? There was a stage list and then people would pick random to play on the stage. No neutrals, no counter picks, no nothing. What the fuck was that? Plank decided to end that shit. Because of him and a few others, we now have what we now refer to as the striking system. And of course, he ran one of the most successful grassroots tournament series of all time. A series so legendary that you can't even give it justice. It's where the Mango Run happened. It's where Mango and H-Box had those disrespectful puff dittos.
Mango. So disrespectful, Mango. That's disrespectful to everyone.
It's where PPMD won his first major. It's Pound.
I'm back, bitches. Pound 5.
But then there's the elephant in the room. What happened during Pound 5?
The third pound had about like 380 people, and the fourth pound had 580 people. Pound 5 was the first time I ever went to a hotel. Anytime that you're going to rent a venue, you're gonna have to like sign a contract for venue rental.
Hotel venues will often offer discount based on the amount of rooms you can book with them. If you book 50 rooms, the venue may go down from $10,000 to $8,000. 100 rooms, and it's $8,000 to $5,000. This sliding scale model is common for events, although not well understood. Tournament organizers have a cover charge known as the venue fee to offset the cost of the venue and sometimes turn a small profit, but it's usually way more effort than monetary reward. Hosting fighting game tournaments is much more a labor of love than something to profit off of. Pound 5 was held in February of 2011. Understanding that the Pound series had been growing and Plank booked a venue through a hotel chain is vital for this portion. But Smash wasn't doing so hot.
Smash was kind of in a lull. Overall, it was just kind of like the dark ages for Smash. I mean, there really just wasn't much there. And it all like started to happen at once.
With all the venue fee collected and additional costs of the tournament paid down, Plank was left with around $22,000, $11,000 of which was going to the prize money. The venue fee, however, had not lowered as much as Plank thought it would. it had only slid down to $15,000. So there were some warning signs, but Plank bet on Smash.
Coming up towards the end, I knew that my numbers weren't where I wanted them to be, and I was a little nervous, but I just like figured that Smashers were waiting until the very last minute to do it, like, because they always do. But it just really didn't shoot up the way that I needed it to. The tournament started and everything, and I got to the point where I did the actual math, and I found out that I had about 7,000 of the 11, what it ended up being 11,000 prize dollars I still had left, about 7,000 to pay out after everything was said and done. This was maybe on like the second or third day, but everyone was already playing, and I was like, oh fuck, you know, I've got 66% of it. I'll figure it out. I'll pay people, you know, later or whatever.
Then came the kicker.
2 days later, I checked my bank account, and I have negative $900, and I have no idea why. It turns out the venue completely overdrew my account for the rental, all the prize money that was left in my personal account. What was left in it?
The hotel venue price had gone up due to the amount of cancellations. It had risen $8,000 to $23,000. Instead of having $7,000 left over after the tournament to pay people back, the $11,000 in prize money and the venue fee collected by Plank was all taken by the hotel. Plank was left with negative $900 of debt and $11,000 owed to the winners of Pound 5. The Smash community rallied against Plank. This was an age prior to social media. There was no Facebook Smash group to explain the situation. Just players who felt cheated and angry people posting on Smash boards about the evil of Plank. To them, he had deprived a legendary event of its prize pool. And he did, but there was nuance. Plank was blacklisted as a TL for years.
There's responsibility on my end. You know, I tried to handle it appropriately at first, and I did not react well to the first couple people that really went off on me. And a lot of the stuff that people started saying, and I was not in a great headspace, and really was just kind of like, well, whatever then, I'm out. I can't pay people. What do you want me to do? I'm just gonna completely disconnect and detach myself, because I worked the last 5 years of my life building this thing, and it all just got taken from me in a split second, and I have no idea what to do with myself right now, and I cannot emotionally handle any of this, and there's nothing I can do. So I just completely disconnected. Nobody wanted to listen. People just assumed the worst in me, and it really just sent me through a bad spiral where I just became that person.
He wasn't running away with the money. There was no money to run away with. He loved Smash.
I waited tables, and I don't have the capital to fix that. It didn't help that this support system and group that I had for years and years just fell out from under me. One of the worst things that could have ever happened to me.
After the tragedy of Pound 5, the Smash community continued to decline in growth, until tournaments could no longer happen. Competitive Smash died. Haha, just kidding. There's a silver lining. Could you imagine, though?
I tried to go too big too fast, and all I did was create a system of tournaments. I created a standard to continue. Yeah, so somebody came forward and went ahead and paid for the prize money so that we could pay them back and then announce and then immediately start planning for Pound 2016. And we had an overwhelmingly successful event.
Plank eventually paid out of pocket to all the Smashers that lost prize money. Now TOs are more public about their struggles.
The community is much more respectful of tournament organizers than they used to be.
This begs the question, what should Plank have done? The obvious thing is not betting on the growth of Smash before the documentary. But that type of fanatic support for Smash is how we got so big in the first place. After the incident, transparency may have helped, but it was a different time. It's important to consider that Plank could have tried to community fund the event, but this is my modern bias speaking. In the modern era, GoFundMe could easily be run for this situation. In his situation, who knows if people would have extended the same courtesy they did now. The relationship that Smashers have with grassroots TOs is very interesting. When an event goes well, it seems to be entirely the responsibility of the players. No one remembers the Pound series for the TOing. It's a combination of factors that led to a well-run event that creates these spectacular sets. And at the same time, whenever an event goes wrong, it's entirely the fault of the TOs. There's always nuance. It takes a large amount of financial risk to throw an event, and I don't think somebody deserves years of debt, financial and social, to pay off a mistake they made in their 20s.
Like, everyone who's been able to do it, and Nest has done it for the game. You know, they're still around. It's impressive.
In the end, the story of Plank is one of the most interesting there is. He's a player synonymous with notoriety, degenerate gameplay. The Smash community has learned a lot about him. The Smash community is this great thing, but it isn't perfect. It's full of flaws, and it's important to understand them. We move so fast these days that we forget about how we got here, and I think we need to do a better job of honoring all our grassroots heroes, especially the ones that the scene is built so much off of. He's not evil. He's just a goofball who really loves Smash Brothers.
But overall, met some of the best people I could ever hope for, and I'm gonna keep doing it.